How many reasons do you need to adore dogs? If you have a dog in your life or have ever spent your life with a dog in the past, you are well aware that they have a lot to offer. We bring you a brief heartwarming story that will make you love dogs even more. When a woman was involved in a car accident as a result of her speeding, she anticipated the worst, but then a miracle in the form of a dog appeared. Pavo is a small town located in the state of Georgia. Shannon Loriot had lived in the quiet neighborhood for as long as she could remember. She shared a house with her husband, and they, like everyone else in the neighborhood, kept to themselves. Shannon had a life-changing encounter on January 26th when she got into a disagreement with her husband, despite the fact that quarreling is frequent in relationships. This fight immediately grew out of hand. It was too much for her to process after it went down. Shannon's top priority was to get some space. Shannon exited the house and walked to her car. A nocturnal trip felt like the perfect way to relax. Even though she had been driving for years and knew the laws, safety was the last thing on her mind as she hopped into the car and sped away. She was angry, and this looked like the perfect outlet, so she drove faster and faster, her heart pounding against her chest. If you go to Georgia, you will note how wooded some of the locations are. The state has an abundance of fully grown trees, which is typically something to be thankful for, but there are occasions when this can be problematic for drivers or travelers. Georgia is also recognized for its windy lanes that are lengthy and curvy, and with so many trees, drivers need to exercise caution, especially when going down the notorious NASCAR road. Shannon wound up on that road despite knowing all of the cautions about the location, because the thoughts and feelings from the disagreement had her on edge, and safety wasn't the primary thing on her mind. Shannon continued to follow the windy path to the best of her ability. The first time she approached a sharp curve, she was able to turn the car around with ease, but when she wanted to make another turn, she quickly discovered that this one was not like the last. When I came into the second turn, the car fishtailed. Shannon recalled her world flipping in an instant. Shannon was pushed out of the driver's seat and through the back window of her car. When the poor woman woke, her head had slammed the glass and she had lost consciousness. Her mind couldn't stop racing, and she could not really make sense of her surroundings since everything was blurry. She could feel her legs in the back seat and her body in an awkward posture. Unfortunately, she was stuck. Anyone coming wouldn't see me because of the way my car disappeared into the trees, Shannon explained. Her car had drifted so severely into the woods that no one would have noticed it unless they were passing by. Cars would have passed too rapidly to notice that anything in the area was amiss. Shannon began to panic when she realized no one was coming for her. She remembered her husband and their disagreement and how much she resented the drive that had brought her here. Her body was weak, so she cried with what little strength she had left. A roaming dog approached the car just as Shannon was about to give up. This is how a dying woman was saved from a vehicle accident by a homeless dog. She was convinced that she was trapped and that no one would discover her until it was too late. When reminiscing on this incident, Shannon commented, "I don't know if he was doing his rounds. I'm not sure if he was on his way back to his original owner, but he came across me and I'm glad he did." The dog carried her over 100 feet to seek help, and the woman's life was spared as a result of this incredible act of generosity. The mysterious animal drew her from the trees and through the grass till they arrived at the place immediately beside the road. Shannon had a far better probability of receiving assistance while in that location, since drivers were more likely to notice her. Shannon, on the other hand, felt she needed to do more than lie down on the ground and wait for a car. Shannon tried to push herself off the ground, clearly struggling at first, but the canine wouldn't give up on her, so he got closer and stooped down slightly to give his neck to her. For the first time since the car accident, Shannon placed her arms around the dog's neck and pulled as hard as she could. Shannon rose to her feet. It was a cold night, and she was not wearing many garments, so she could feel the breeze against her skin and hair. Despite this, she was warmed merely by the fact that such a dog had gone out of its way for her. They stood next to each other waiting for someone to pass by while Shannon held on to the stable canine. A vehicle ended up coming across. It was dark, and she couldn't see clearly, so she couldn't tell exactly what sort vehicle it was. Nonetheless, Shannon was thrilled when it slowed down to where she and the dog were. With all of the strength she could summon up, she leaned into the window and asked the passengers for help. She was almost in tears as she pleaded, "I just crashed my car. Could you please contact my husband?" The effort may have been too much for Shannon's frail state because she passed out again. While she remained unconscious, the individuals inside the vehicle quickly made calls and provided her the assistance she required. Shannon was gone for a while. She was laying on a hospital bed the next moment she opened her eyes. When she was told that she had awoken, a doctor quickly came to her side to recollect what had happened to her. Shannon's vision was still vague from sleep, but she could make out the doctor's concerned expression. "Shannon," the doctor said cautiously, "you've got a small bleed in the brain." Following the upsetting news, the nurses and doctors had to determine whether their new patient required surgery. As brain hemorrhages can be fatal, they wanted to make the best choice possible to ensure Shannon's safety. Shannon laid awake in bed during the wait. Even though she had been sleeping, her thoughts traveled back to the conflict, the crash, and the dog who had rescued her. Everything that had happened in the previous 24 hours felt like a nightmare. The doctor didn't return to Shannon's room for several hours. Fortunately, the medic stated that the bleed was minor and that as long as she relaxed, her body will heal itself, which meant she didn't need any costly or risky operation and could go home. Shannon was able to completely recover in the comforts of her own home with the help of her husband. He did everything, and it's a wonderful animal. "I wouldn't be here today if he hadn't saved me," Shannon explained. Although Shannon had mistakenly thought that the dog had an owner, he was actually a stray. Yet after his heroic gesture, people could no longer overlook this dog. The dog was taken in by the Humane Society while Shannon was recovering from her injuries. This dog drew a lot of attention and was fortunate enough to be adopted. Since then, he's been given a name that many people believe is a wonderful depiction of his personality. He is named as Hero. Hero was adopted by Heidi Draudy, a canine search and rescue trainer who is the ideal owner for this Hero dog. Heidi immediately began training the Hero with the goal of making him a certified mission-ready search dog. "We're training him for the wilderness right now, and he's doing really well," Heidi explained. "It's incredible to think that Hero was able to put himself out there and look out someone in need of assistance without any prior training. Everyone could see the goodness in his heart." Shannon shared her experience during an interview, and the video was posted online. Shannon sobbed tears of joy as she expressed her gratitude to the dog who assisted her shortly after it received thousands of views near the end of the video. "He will always be my hero," she says. The final sentence gave us goosebumps. Didn't it? It's incredible to hear such moving stories. What was your favorite aspect of this story? Tell us in the comments. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you liked our video, please click the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. And please share this video with your family and your friends.